1 second. 1 goal. 14 years. Oh, beautiful scenes of wonderful excitement. What a day. What a day. Trust the process, boys. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for the greatest episode of the Raw Reaction Show. Oh, it has been so long. It has been so long. I was 13 years old. I was 11. My maths is going. You see, you just stop being a teacher for 5 minutes and you lose the ability to do maths. I was 11 years old when we last won in the league at Old Trafford. What an achievement. What an achievement. This is going to be a little bit off probably our analytical professionality today. But, we're going to get a lot of your thoughts in the chat box today, a lot of them, because I feel like I'm going to struggle to kind of not allow my emotions to take hold too much. It's just been so long since we got to experience that, so long. And there's one manager that managed to turn it around and do it, which is mad. Mikel Arteta. Who doubted you? Who doubted you? But Mikel Arteta is not the star of the show today by a long shot, because the star of the show today is split between, in my mind, 2 people. 3 people, actually. That'd be unfair. 3 people, specifically. First of all, Thomas Partey. What did I say? What did I say about Thomas Partey making a difference in Big Six away games? His first Big Six away game, in which he, of course, starts, and we win. There's that. Mohamed El Neni, I hold my hands up. I genuinely thought that El Neni and Partey as a partnership wasn't going to work. I thought it needed to be jack up. I was wrong. I hold my hands up. Just as well as I might be right on Partey, I hold my hands up when I'm wrong. And El Neni absolutely smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Unbelievable performance from the Egyptian. Arguably, maybe slightly even... I wasn't going to say better than Partey, but I'm just thinking back of all those times he nicked the ball, drove it forwards. He's not better than Partey, but he was still pretty darn good. And one man that nearly got sent off, very, very, very nearly got sent off, and that was Gabriel. Gabriel was unbelievably good. And that's only just pointing out 3 outstanding players. There were other players in the team that were unreal. Kieran Tierney, fantastic. Really good. Willian. Right, now the thing about Willian is I think that his performance is going to go completely under the radar. But he held the ball up. He crossed the ball well. He took the ball into the right positions. He cut inside. He didn't do anything. He played the ball in behind for Bellerin. That combination was back like it was for Fulham. Willian deserves credit on his name for that performance. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Rob Holding, really good. Rob Holding was solid for most of the game. There was one moment towards the end where he had a little bit of a clanger. But other than that, Rob Holding, excellent. Bernd Leno didn't have to do much, in all honesty. But I'm so glad that he's got the widest face of a goalkeeper that you will ever see. Thankfully, Nelly's somehow not putting into the back of his own net. Oh, that would have been awkward. That would have been really awkward, wouldn't it? Absolutely horrific. And he hit the post as well. We forget that. Absolutely. Holding was good, says Abby. Chris, told you to be patient. What do you mean told me? I've been trying to defend the guy for weeks, Chris. You see, there's people even now like Joe coming at him saying he don't agree with that. Are you mad? Unfortunately, I think there is a way in which some people you can't see the goodness sometimes because the mind is so skewed against these players. It's like with Granit Xhaka, who I'm glad didn't play today. I should point that out. I'm glad. That's me, Mr. Canton, saying that he's happy about Granit Xhaka not playing. I'm glad Mate, leave El Neni and Partey in the team as long as you like. You can leave Xhaka out in the cold forever. I'm having those two all day long. But I'm sorry, Willian had a good game, and there's nothing the agenda that people have got against him can say about it. He had a good game, and that's it. Moving into just other positions on the pitch. Lacazette stressed me the hell out. No, I think that he got a lot more criticism than he deserved. There was a thing in the first half when the pass came across the box and Lacazette swiped at it. The amount of people I saw, the uproar on Twitter was a joke. And some people need to take a long, hard look at themselves and some of the things they wrote about Lacazette. Because first of all, Lindelof gets an unbelievable defensive touch on that ball to take it away from him. And yet the initial instinct of so many Arsenal fans is just to turn around and say, wow, what a miss. Get him out the side. Now, I'm not saying that he had a brilliant performance. I thought he worked exceptionally hard today. On a technical level, it wasn't up there with one of his best performances, no doubt. But in a physicality and stamina and work rate effort, it was up there. Lacazette worked his backside off that entire game. And so I was absolutely buzzing with how good and how, not necessarily how good, but the amount of work that Lacazette put in. And that's the thing. It's so necessary that we need people that are going to work their socks off in this team. And he did. And that is certainly what we needed. And Abigail, you are 100% right. Willian offers more fight and aggressive drive. Pepe's great if you want him to take on players and to try and get a goal, but he's not consistent. Whereas Willian does have these games against big oppositions where he really does show up. And he showed up today. And I'm sorry, but there is no way that you can turn around and have a criticism of his game. It was unreal how good I thought his effort was. Lacazette, in terms of his finishing, genuinely does need to improve. Like the way he takes his chances, the positions that he gets into, that does need to improve. I understand that. But there was so much that was good about this performance. Let's briefly talk about Arteta, because he got his tactics spot on. First half was one of the best halves of football that we've seen us play under Arteta, other than the final thing. Be that a cross, be that a finish, be that a touch. That's all that was lacking. But Arteta got those tactics spot on. You come up there against a United side that dominated RB Leipzig, that used their pressure, beat the counter-press so many times. And yet Arsenal in this game were fantastic when in possession. Thomas Partey has become an unbelievable signing in such a short space of time. And I will keep rattling on about this. But I have said that he is the guy that will make the difference in these big games. You can keep Aouar for the moment. I'm happy if we get him later on. But he was not the priority. He was not the man that was going to change Arsenal's fortunes. Arsenal have continuously looked to drop points against sides like Leicester season upon season, where we've looked devoid of creativity, where we've looked devoid of a finishing shot. We will drop points in those games, but the difference being that Thomas Partey transforms Arsenal into a side that competes in these big games. And he enabled us to do that. He won the ball back countless times. He lost it a couple of times, and whenever he lost the ball, he went back and recovered it. Not someone that just gave up after they lose the ball and their head's gone. His head is in the game, and if he loses it, he runs back and he gets it. It's unreal, the effort that he put in. And Mohamed El Neni, for the amount of times I've criticised him for only passing the ball sideways, my God, what a performance from the Egyptian today. Because his forward passing was great, his recycling of the ball was great, his effort was great, the way he pressed was great. He was fantastic. And we've got a game against Aston Villa, a side in which obviously are shipping goals right now. They are shipping goals for fun. I mean, they conceded 3 against Leeds, and then they've conceded 4 today against Southampton. And yes, I think we need to go over more attacking lineup possibly. But there's arguments to say that we just stick with what we had today. And we stick with what we got. We have to see what the injury is to Holding. I think he was basically kept on longer than he maybe would have done if we were 2 or 3 goals up. But he was absolutely brilliant. And it will be a massive blow again if Holding's out. The fact that no one knew that Holding might be coming back in, it was worth rushing him back for the performance that Holding put in. He was absolutely fantastic. Kitchener says, enough about boring players. Talk about Gabriel. I dare you say something negative about him. He was rescuing everyone's mistakes. You act to me like I'm a negative person. Gabriel was amazing. Gabriel was brilliant. His tackling was good. His physicality was good. The way he headed every single cross that came into the box away was excellent. He tread a thin line towards the end, but ultimately I saw people saying he was on a yellow. Take him off. take Gabriel off just because he's on a yellow. I'm sorry, but what are you going to bring on? Mustafi. We're going to take off Gabriel. We're going to bring on Mustafi for the last 15 minutes because I guarantee you that if we'd have done that, we weren't keeping that game at 1-0. No chance. He doesn't have the aerial responsibility that Gabriel has. Absolutely no chance. No chance. Great decision from Arteta to keep him on. And massive props to, of course, Gabriel for doing the business. Ed says, Gabriel, Partey, Tierney, key to absolutely shutting down a team who put 5 past Leipzig in midweek. Arteta destroyed the diamond from the opening whistle. And that's the thing, is we did what RB Leipzig couldn't do in this game. Absolutely brilliant stuff again. Oh, it's just great, isn't it? It's just great after seeing the amount of doubt in the coach that, I don't see Unai Emery turning up to a Big Six away side and winning. In fact, whenever we turned up to a Big Six away side under Unai Emery, it's frankly embarrassing. And we've gone to a Man United side that were seemingly favourites by far in this game, and we've turned them over. We have absolutely done a job on them. And people are saying that he's boring. He lacks, we don't have the verve that we had under Arsene Wenger. We don't have this. We don't have that. And we've been crying for years and years and years that our defence is not good enough. Our defence is frail. They make mistakes continuously. They're not consistent. We don't have players. We don't have characters in the defensive areas of the pitch. We've been saying that for years. And all of a sudden, we get a coach that actually transforms our defence into something that's sturdy, that transforms our team into a team that other positions and other teams actually plan for rather than playing their own game. Leicester came to the Emirates and did a job on us because they prepared and they planned for what Arteta has set up. Pep Guardiola performed and put his team out to play specifically against an Arsenal side, playing Walker, playing João Cancelo, playing these guys in these positions to operate and trying to nullify the threats that Arsenal proposed. We are no longer a side that are unfearful. It's not the right word. We're no longer a side that shouldn't be feared. We're a team that you have to plan for, and that is thanks to Arteta transforming the way in which we defend games. There are going to be games that are going to be frustrating because we currently lack the personnel to be that creative guy on that creative verve. We are going to have games like we saw against Leicester, and that is a fact of life, unfortunately, with the personnel that we've got in the team. We lack that creative force. I'm not going to bring up his name because he's not in the squad, but we lack that creative force in the team at the moment, and hopefully in January we can turn things around and we can add something to the team. We did have a donation. Thank you to Aya vfeqfo. Not to have a go at Xhaka, but Elneny's movement shows we need better movement in the midfield, fluidity and better build-up. Look, I said it from the start. If that performance means that Elneny and Partey take over as the midfield two, I am fine. I'm fine with that, because when you think about how that means it adds to our depth and how that means that Xhaka can play in the Europa League games, that we can rotate when necessary, I'm absolutely fine with that. It's great that we've got strength and depth. It's great that Elneny's come back and proved so many doubters wrong. And there's a couple on Twitter that I laugh at the amount of times that they have completely criticised Elneny unwittingly and completely naively. And unfortunately, he has thrown a massive egg in their faces, and it's great. And it's absolutely wonderful. Calvin Cloette says, man of the match, Gabriel or Elneny. Great performance. Partey, top quality. My weekend is made. Arteta schooled Ollie. Arsenal dominated Old Trafford and should have been more goals. 2 times now we've played Manchester United under Mikel Arteta, and we've won both of those games. Both of them. We beat them at the Emirates, and we now beaten them at Old Trafford. And that's what this game has done. In the chat box, if you could, just put who you think was your man of the match today. Was it Elneny? Was it Partey? Was it Gabriel? Was it Tierney? Was it the goal scorer? I doubt it, but is it? Let me know what you guys are thinking. JD says that Elneny was his man of the match. Papoose says that Elnen Busquets, Elnen Ketz was the man of the match. Rolling a GRG says Elneny. John P says Elneny is an upgrade on Torreira. Fantastic stuff. I mean, Torreira scored, of course, the other day. Ceballos who? Xhaka who? Egyptian Partey, man of the match from JD. Guy Cub says Elneny. Zamir says El Messi. One man says Partey. John G says Partey. Owen says Gabriel. Easy Owl says Gabriel. C. Forever says Gabriel. I mean, do you know what's great about the amount of different names that you're throwing out there is that shows you how well so many of the players on the pitch played today. It's not a clear and out winner from this. It's not. We dominated the game using performances from players that were outstanding. Gabriel and Partey in particular, is that Edu specifically, we should give credit to the technical director here, is that I know a lot of you wanted to criticise him for not getting the likes of Aouar across the line, and with days left, even I was jumping onto the channel and criticising Edu for the lack of transfer activity towards the end of the window. But he's got the job done, and he's managed to go in and get Partey. Now Arteta, who I praise, as you know, continuously, got it wrong. He wanted Houssem Aouar over Thomas Partey. And I'm so glad that Edu has supposedly, reportedly, overruled him in this area and gone and got Partey. Because we've added a key element to our side which we've been lacking for so long. We've lacked creativity, yes. But we've lacked physicality and we've lacked the will to battle and win so much more than that over the last 14 years. Since we last beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. And I know it's a very different Man United side to what it was back then, but they've been a poor Man United side for a long time, and they've only just started to really kind of turn the corner. At Old Trafford now, we have submitted them to meaning that they've lost to Palace. They lost to those spuds down the road. They drew against Chelsea, and then they've lost against us. Their home form is deplorable in the league. It is dreadful. And this will have such a negative mental effect on Man United, and I'm going to love every second of it. Terry Flewers, if you're watching this, mate, and you want to tweet me saying, do you want a party? Just because you think that Thomas Partey isn't going to sign. Well, I'm telling you now, mate, there's only one team that's partying now, and it's not the Red Devils. Have an absolutely fantastic... I mean, he can't even tweet about it because his account's suspended. So he's actually all right, Terry. It's just because he throws the banter out. And, it's just nice to get back at people when you get some performances like that. Absolutely wonderful. And Was as well. I was joined on the other day on some of the United sides the other day. Absolutely was so determined that they were going to beat us. United fans were so... sure that they had won this game, that it was in the bag, that RB Leipzig, it meant everything, and we just turned them over. It's fantastic. It's just brilliant. Coop Dog says Arteta, man of the match. Manuel says I am really satisfied with the performance. Nico F says haha, calling on outflows. It's funny. He calls us out all the time. Vinny Eagle, I reckon Bellerin has been sneaking cheeseburgers. He's finally showing his athleticism again. OP Boy says we have the best defensive record despite our games, considering playing three so-called Big Six Premier League sides. And what I'll say is that in those Manchester City and Liverpool games, although that we lost them, we competed and we stayed competitive throughout those. The gap is closing. And that is important to remember, that the gap between Arsenal and these sides is closing. And that is thanks to the signings that we are making. It's thanks to the defensive astuteness of the coach that we've now got in. And it's a wonderful time, I think, and we've got a really positive way to look forward at the season. What does this mean for the Premier League table? Well, let's have a look at how things stand. Currently, of course, Spurs still have to play Brighton this evening, but that is an absolutely massive win for the Arsenal. Let's get this up on the screen so you guys can see the table and have a look. Here we go. Share, there it is. So there's a table at the state of play. Of course, if you're watching this on playback and you know the Spurs score currently, things will change, but we have gone above Spurs currently. 12 points from our first 7 games, so 12 from a possible 21. I know it doesn't sound great, but when you look at it in the context of how everyone this season is dropping points, that we're now up into the top half. Whereas Manchester United currently in 15th place. They have a game in hand, but even if they were to win that game in hand, it would not take them out of the bottom half of the table. And yet for some reason, we're calling out madness at this stage. Kitchen says, should Xhaka be worried? No, he should be absolutely buzzing that he's in a squad that is pushing forwards and improving. And he's going to be worth something in this team. We're going to use him for rotation. But El Neni and Partey absolutely bossing things. We've got a clipping goals, as I say, but they're still a threat. On the counter, they've still got players like Watkins and Grealish and Barkley and Traore that can hurt us, and Trezeguet, etc. And they have done. But this is the opportunity for us to now turn things around. This is the opportunity for Arsenal to actually push on and put a load of results together and gain that confidence. Arsenal have lacked confidence after losing against Manchester City and Liverpool. But this result right here can turn things around. You know what I want to see? I want to see us going to Manchester City in the League Cup. Yes, the League Cup, and playing a dominant performance. I want to see Partey play. I want to see El Neni play. I want us to knock out Manchester City and continue this great vein of form. Why not? Why not go forth and get the League Cup as well? I know I'm getting carried away. I get that. I'm on a high. It's great. And I'm not taking a sip of my beer since the start, so I should do that now. But it was just fantastic. It's just brilliant. Johan says, very worried about Lacazette. He's like, let's just leave the negatives, man. Come on. Let's just leave the negatives. We just won our first Big Six away game in 5 years. Let's not focus on the negatives. The pressing today was unbelievable, says Alex. Owen says, hopefully this removes the stupid negativity that's been around this past couple of weeks. See Forever says, with how well our midfield is doing, I reckon we won't try to sign Ceballos permanently. It also depends on, of course, who else comes in. It depends on how well Emile Smith-Rowe gets into things. It depends how well Willock develops. But I'm not sure. Kenna, you funny boy. Paul Geyer says the system we were playing looked almost like a 4-4-2. Aubameyang played a lot closer to Lacazette. Ryan Adams says Egyptian Xavi and El Neni. Casper Fisson says Laka was decent. Come on, man. David said Laka played well, I thought, and I think that's the great amount of positivity that we get in this channel, that we've cultivated a really great positive audience here, and it's fantastic. Wesley says Bellerin is improving defensively, which is great to see as well. Jeffrey says Partey and El Neni is quite the pivot. That was the game. They dominated both sides of the game, and we just need a count. You know, one man that we've not talked about yet is Bukayo Saka. We've not talked about him so far, and I thought he had a really excellent game as well. First half especially, he was darting in, he was making incisive runs, his passing was strong, his crossing was good. I thought he battled really well. Saka, and you have to forget, it's easy to forget that this kid is 18 years old. He's 18 years old, and he's putting in performances like that at Old Trafford, and that is brilliant to see. Really good. There are players that didn't come on today. Pepe didn't come on. He'll probably play against Mulder, and that's fine because I think that Willian had a great display as well. But when you look at the fact that Saka at 18 years old is having performances and going up against one of the best defensive-minded right-backs in the league in Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who I have a lot of respect for and I really rate him, but Saka turned him inside out a couple of times. Saka got round him and he played him off the park, and he really kind of nullified that threat. And at the same time, on that left-hand side, Kieran Tierney was great as well. I'm trying to think of anyone else that I've not really talked about. I think we've covered pretty much everyone. Aubameyang's obviously, he was very quiet, but he did the business when it mattered. He got me the fantasy points for the first time in quite a while as well, which I'm very happy about too. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Calvin Clowett says Holding put in a decent performance as well. He did. Orion says Saka protects the width, negated United's diamond fantastically. Joe says, Tom, I was wondering when you were going to acknowledge Saka. Well, there you go. I mean, it takes us a long time. We've just won against Man United, so there you go. Let's not be so negative. Nico says, good to have Rob Holding back. He kept the runs in that right channel quiet for 80 minutes. Now, I know a lot of you have wanted to see William Saliba play, but if Rob Holding is consistent and plays the way that he's playing now, Saliba's not getting a look in. He's not getting a look in. I'd love to see him play. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see him get some minutes on the pitch and develop. But if Rob Holding's playing as well as he has played today, there is no reason. He's unfashionable. He's English. And that makes him unfashionable, unfortunately. He only cost $1.5 million, so famously, as Arsene Wenger said. I know it's not fashionable to really like Rob Holding, but if he continues to put in really good, decent, consistent performances like we saw today, then you categorically cannot criticise the guy. You really can't. You can't criticise him. I think that is pretty much it for today's game. It was a nice anniversary gift, and she did mention that when she was watching the game. And thank you, Iron Cub, for acknowledging that. 8 years. I mean, when you think about it, it's 8 years is what? 6 years just off the last time we won at Old Trafford is what it is. So, 11 years old. 11 years old when we last won at Old Trafford. That is insane to think about it. So, yeah, unbelievable performance. Really fantastic stuff. Great weekend. And hopefully, fingers crossed, come on, Brighton. Come on, Brighton, do us a favour. Do us a favour, Brighton. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. We will be back tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. 8:30 p.m. UK time, probably, to do a podcast on today's game with some fantastic guests, which I'm looking forward to you seeing. I got a new lad coming on, which I'm excited about as well. Someone I've been doing a bit of work with recently, so I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to have French on, fingers crossed, and one more guest as well. So it's fantastic stuff, isn't it? It's amazing stuff. Let me know. Sum up this game for yourselves in one word in the chat box if we can. If you could sum up this game in one word, it's going to be tough, and you can't cheat. But if you could sum up this game in one word, that would be great. Up the Arsenal, says Jubilani. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Mate Linnell's did well when he came on. Getting you gunners, says Lukey Jackson. Arjit says, winning at Old Trafford. Yes, yes, yes. First time I've ever seen that as an Arsenal fan. There you go, Arjit. Fantastic stories like that being made just because we've won for the first time at Old Trafford in 14 years. Graham Page says, I'm still listening to Gary Neville being gutted. Oh, I'm so relieved. Owen Young says, the word that he would use to describe this is finally. Bliss, clean sheet, finally, United gangster. Finally, says Alex McCarthy. They're coming through quite heavily, so it's taken a while for them to upload. Pogba, finally. Arteta, part Nene, says Vinny, which is probably a great way of doing it. Keith reckons that Bellerin dived. Oh, look at the salt. Oh, look at the salt. It's unbelievably fun to witness that. Fantastic. Amazing, superb view, says Kitchener. Thank you so much for tuning in, people. Drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the content that we put out here constantly. More content for you coming, as always. If you'd like to help the channel and support it by joining up as a member, we, of course, appreciate that. Thank you to our TGT ambassadors. Thank you to our expert members. All of you are absolute legends. I'll see you again very, very soon. Trust the process, guys. Trust the process. Unbelievable.